What's up, my D-Gens of Detroit? What is going on a Wednesday? We got a good show for you here today. We're going to talk all kinds of sports here. We got some NBA to talk about. We got some college basketball to talk about. And, of course, we got Beastie, so we're going to have a rundown of some NHL. But let's bring in Beastie here before we get too far. But, Beastie, what's going on, my friend, on this Wednesday?
Nothing. I'm having a good day so far. I do want to mention this briefly. Last night, right, I watched the Michigan State Iowa game. It was bad news. We all know what happened. But then people on social media, it's like they just can't come to terms. That Michigan State played bad yesterday. They weren't good. They lost by like 26 points, and people are still, passing the buck. It's not the team's fault. It's not Izzo's fault. Just when something stinks, you just have to say, hey, basketball team right now stinks. I'm not saying long term State is out of it. They're going to never make the NCAA tournament, or who knows. But last night, you have to call a spade, and Michigan State looked awful last night. But here we are.
Yeah, dude, BC, they look bad. I think their starters only scored 19 points. It was just a pretty bad display overall. I tried to watch a little bit of it, and it was just terrible. Obviously one of my best bets yesterday was the Sparties. I thought they'd come out with a little bit of fire in their pants, trying to keep ahead of the curve here for the NCAA tournament. But Beastie, man, if they keep losing like this, they may be in jeopardy. They may be going to the NIT. It's just amazing. Usually a Tom Izzo team, is generally on the upswing at this time of the year, but something we're not used to seeing. And to me, though, BC, they just don't have a scorer. They don't have a guy that just can take the ball when they're struggling and put the ball in the net. So for me, until they get that kind of guy, and they don't have that fiery, tough leader, like we're always used to seeing a guy like Mateen Cleaves or Draymond or somebody like that. But these guys here just don't seem to have that leader or that scorer at this point, which it seems to be hurting them. But either way, Beastie, they got some time to right the ship here before the Big Ten tournament and all that fun stuff. But Beastie, before we get too far here, my friend, just want to give a shout out to our sponsor of the show, and that is Better Rate Mortgage. At Better Rate Mortgage, family is more than blood. If you're looking for a new mortgage, come get treated like family, actually better with Better Rate Mortgage. Visit mybetterrate.com or call 248-480-4467 today. But Beastie, big news I saw go across the like Twitter and all that fun stuff. The Michigan Panthers of the USFL had the number one pick. And what did they do? They chose ex-Michigan quarterback Shea Patterson with the number one pick. So, Beastie, what does that say? I'm sitting there thinking, this guy's the number one pick in the league here. Like, what kind of league do we got here, for one? I understand that these are the leftover players. But two, I was sitting there thinking, how's this draft working out? I kind of watched some of the picks, and it looked like they picked certain positions. Like each round was for a position. Like they weren't mixing up positions.
Correct.
So it did seem a little bit different, but I saw what they got through. I only recognized a couple of the names on the list, but I'm kind of anxious to see what kind of product they put out. Now, we know if it's bad football, nobody's going to watch. We saw a little bit of that with the NFL here during COVID, with all these quarterbacks being in and out. It's just a tough go, man, when you got a guy that just can't even play quarterback. It's not good. It's just not good for viewing purposes. But, yeah, what'd you think of Shea Patterson going number one, Beastie?
Well, it blows my mind, but I'm not a professional athlete. Obviously, I'm not even a triple A, double A baseball kind of player here. But to me, Shea Patterson, it fits the mold here. It's the USFL. It's a Jeff Fisher-led team, so that means that they're headed towards glorious, 500 kind of football here, however you want to put it. And Shea Patterson being number one overall, I think it works, right? We saw him at Michigan. Again, I'm not going to talk Shea Patterson up. He did what he needed to do at Michigan to kind of move the ball and get some wins going, and that was it. So now he was the number one overall pick. And the one thing that stands out to me, it's not even really about Shea Patterson. It's not even really about the USFL. Again, I've made no secret of my disdain for my fellow NFC North teams, Green Bay, Minnesota, and so on, Chicago, and so on and so forth. So right after that pick, Woodward Sports shared it, right? They said, you know, Michigan Panthers are on the clock, number 101. They took Shea Patterson. And of course, some Minnesota Vikings slappies got Kirk Cousins as his Twitter avenue, and his sentence was another Michigan-led poverty, you know, team or poverty fan base. And this guy, I don't even know if it was a guy or a girl, teenager, grown man, grown woman, said that. He go, oh, that's a crappy pick, another poverty Detroit franchise. And this page just got inundated with nonsense. Last I look, I think they had to take, he like canceled up. He took down his Twitter page because everybody's always, you know, not passing the buck per se, but everybody's living in glass houses and they're throwing stones. We know that. Why can't you just shut your mouth and be nice every once in a while? Oh yeah, they got the Lions, they got the USFL. Just be positive. Yeah, Shea Patterson, he's not an NFL quarterback, but he was the 101 in the USFL. This guy could go around telling that story until the day that he dies. I was the 101, and here we go. But some dummy always has to ruin it, whether you're a troll or, and of course, no surprise, it's a Minnesota Vikings dummy. That's just the way it goes.
Yeah, I mean, hey, we're always getting kicked in the shins or kicked in the nuts, you know, with our football teams. I mean, that just seems the way it goes, Beastie. But hey, USFL did win us a championship back when. I know I got the pennant somewhere around here, so I got proof. I can prove it. But I know one thing we can't prove is too many division wins or playoff victories for those beloved Lions of ours. But yeah, I thought it was interesting. Shea Patterson. I mean, hey, coming out of high school, he was a 5-star recruit, one of the top, you know, quarterbacks recruited. So maybe he rights the ship in the USFL, and maybe he does get, you know, an opportunity to go to the NFL at some point. But either way, BC, I thought that was interesting. But yeah, as we mentioned earlier, though, BC, how bad the Sparties struggled last night. Michigan and Wisconsin, both of them involved in that little bit of a wrestling match or slap match, if you want to call it, more or less. Both are going to take the hardwood today. Both are the only two games in the Big Ten today, Beastie. We got Rutgers at Michigan today at 7 o'clock. We got Rutgers is getting 5 points from Michigan. Over-under is 135. On the money line, Rutgers plus 170. Michigan is minus 200. On the road, Rutgers is 3-8. Michigan 8-3 at home here. Now, just kind of looking at this game here, obviously it's the first game without Howard, so they're going to have to adjust with the new head coach here, the interim guy here, the assistant coach. So just kind of looking at this match, Rutgers has been pretty pesky team here lately. Looking back at the schedule here, they did beat Michigan here last time they went into Rutgers, but just kind of looking at their game log, especially against the spread, man, Rutgers has been 5-0-1 their last 6 games against the spread, and I mean they've been killing it here. They smoked the Sparties by 21 points there. They ended up beating OSU by a bucket. They ended up winning a game at Wisconsin, which I thought was impressive. And then they beat Illinois by 11. So Rutgers is they're in the same boat as Michigan, trying to fight to get in the tournament here. Their last loss, they were getting 12 points at Purdue. They ended up pushing that one. But, Beastie, I think this one here, I mean, this is pretty scary for Michigan here. I think this Rutgers team's been playing pretty well. Michigan has not been playing all that well as far as, you know, covering the spread. Kind of looking here, the last 3 out of 5 they have not covered. Last game here they did not cover against Wisconsin. We know they beat Iowa by 5, lost to the Buckies, and then of course that big win against Purdue. But I still think Michigan's got to do some more here to get in the NCAA tournament. I'm a little bit worried about this one here, but I don't know. Do you think that Juwan Howard mess is going to inspire this team here, and are we going to get a late season run to push them into the tournament? Or do you think that this could be, you know, something that just sets them back a little bit?
Well, this could go one of two ways, and it's nothing, you know, profound here, right? They're either gonna, you know, put on their shorts, their big boy shorts, and go out there and play well. Are they going to put, let's do it for Juwan, or let's do it for the program here? But the Michigan athletic director said this, and it kind of goes to what point I'm trying to prove here. You know, athletic director Ward Manuel, that's his name, excuse me. We will learn from this incident as a department, work to improve ourselves while operating under a spotlight, and move forward in a positive light, aka a positive manner, said the Michigan AD here. So when you look at this one, Michigan, they need a strong finish to the season. As you're saying, 4 of the next 5 games are at home here, so they could do some damage. They're at home, they don't have to worry about leaving or traveling, and boom, but they don't have their head coach. So in a way, obviously one of the assistants is going to have to step up. Do you think the AD kind of floats around, the Breslin Center, watches practice, or hangs out at the game? Some folks might think it's, with binoculars, making sure nobody screws up, making sure none of these other kids, anything bad, no flagrant foul. You know what I mean? Just like nitpicking. I think that would be the worst possible scenario when your AD is up in the nosebleeds with a binoculars watching all over these kids here. But to me, I would like to think as an optimistic kind of guy. We're here in Detroit. You got to be optimistic about the sports teams that we have here, or you won't sleep at night. I think Michigan steps up in lieu of the Juwan Howard suspension. I mean, they love this kid. It's not the organization, but the school loves this kid, and all of us fans. I don't want to speak for everybody, but I like Juwan Howard. What he did was a mistake. I've made so many bad moves, bad decisions in my day, and you'll learn and move on. So to me, I believe the kid's back, Juwan. I believe these kids play strong for the University of Michigan. It's a damn good spot to be in, playing, Division I basketball for U of M in Ann Arbor. It's just going to put a spotlight on these kids. And again, at the end of the day here, at the end of the night here, tonight and tomorrow, I wouldn't be shocked to see it kind of not breaking news like happened, on local TV and radio after Juwan did what he did. But I could imagine, like, Sports Center and other, sports networks across the board, they might not open with Michigan here, but I believe they're going to be, in the top here in terms of, the first game without Juwan Howard, Michigan, they put it together. They played well, something along those lines here. So I think the kids and all the coaching staff, they know what's at stake here. Make it to the tournament without Juwan, or realistically, don't even look that far ahead. Let's look at Rutgers, and boom, let's go from there. Michigan's giving Rutgers 5 points. They're at home, over under. So to me, I don't really have a pulse on this game in terms of total points scored here, but let's hope, fingers crossed, Michigan, they get together and go, you know what, let's do it for Juwan. He had our back. He didn't want the coach putting us down or putting his hands on us. So to me, hopefully Michigan gets it together here, and who knows, we've seen, hockey games with McCarty or Probert, they're down and out, and you see a fist fight here. McCarty KOs some guy, or Bob Probert puts some guy on the ice, and boom, it jump starts the team here. So again, I know Juwan didn't lay anybody out. He slapped some guy in the side of the head, but hey, maybe it was the kick in the teeth that the Michigan Wolverines basketball team needed to kind of kick this thing off, and boom, smooth sailing into the tournament, Scott.
Yeah, I think, for me, just looking at these Michigan team these last few games, they've been shooting terribly behind the three-point line. They were 425 against Wisconsin, which hurt them, and 19% in the last 3 games. So they need to get it together behind that three-point line, which is something I know they rely on. So hopefully they get it together today. We'll be able to get to watch that at 7 o'clock tonight. But we also have one other Big Ten game, and that was obviously the Wisconsin Badgers, who were involved with our Wolverines here. So just kind of looking here, Wisconsin is getting a little tougher matchup, I'd say, with Minnesota here. But just for me, both teams given 5 points here. I just kind of think, just for me, Michigan is a team, or Wisconsin's a team here that, they've been playing a little bit quicker than they normally have. But I just think Wisconsin, especially at 9 o'clock here against Minnesota, given 5, I think Wisconsin is another team that is in the same boat as Michigan. Are they going to be affected by what's happening? Are they going to get fired up, as you mentioned? Is it going to bring something out in them here? But I'm not really sure about this one. I feel a little bit better about placing a wager on that Michigan game, but just kind of looking here, as I mentioned, 5 points, 135 is the over/under. The against the spread, Minnesota 12-12-1. Wisconsin is 15-11. Some recent games here. You look at Wisconsin. Wisconsin is covered the last 3 out of 4 of the last 3 games have gone over for Wisconsin here. Like I mentioned, they like to play at a little quicker pace than a normal Wisconsin team here. Minnesota has lost the last 2 out of 3 against the spread, but ended up having a pretty big victory against Northwestern. Last 2 out of 3 have gone under in the Minnesota game log as well. So just kind of looking here, BC, I can't say that I really have any kind of lean either way on this one. If I think I was to lean something, I think I'd probably pick the over. But you got anything here on this one?
Not necessarily. Again, I'm never from this point moving forward. I'll never miss an opportunity to kind of just tell folks my opinion in terms of this Wisconsin head coach, where nothing's his fault. I mean, I don't even want to know if this guy's married, what his household situation is, where nothing's ever his fault. We all know someone like that. But hey, I digress here. And when we look at the Golden Gophers briefly, they lost their first meeting to Wisconsin, 66-60 here. And when you look at what the Golden Gophers can do, this kid named Battle leads the Gophers, 16.6 points a game, 6.5 rebounds a game. And then Peyton Willis, I believe, missed the Minnesota Penn State game because he was in the COVID protocol. He's back up and running again here. So to me, it's going to, I don't want to say it's going to have to be, nothing's can go off without a hitch. Minnesota's going to have to play a perfect game here. But when you look at these two teams, is there a case where Wisconsin might be a little bit distracted because their head coach, this guard guy, came out and said, I think, what happened when we were playing Michigan here, it's kind of overshadowed how well our team played in the second half in this game, and it's kind of taken a mind of its own on social media and the sports news cycle here. So maybe, if this head coach is as, I don't want to say inept, but if he's wrapped up in his own ego as much as we think he is, does he have these kids, these Wisconsin kids, in the best possible position to get their game faces on and play Minnesota? Because Minnesota, we know, we've talked about them, throughout the length of the season on this broadcast time and time again. Minnesota plays good, sound, fundamental basketball, and they have some kids that can do some damage here. So if Wisconsin just comes in walking on this pink cloud because of what happened last time with Michigan, Minnesota might really get over on them there, and that's what I'm hoping for. So give me Wisconsin to win this one, over under. I'm steering clear from that one because I don't know what Wisconsin's end of the deal, what they're going to show up and do, but I do like Minnesota, getting the points in this one, 5 points here.
Yeah, you know what, Beastie? If Minnesota ends up beating Wisconsin, you and I can make a little video, and we'll tell the hot Wisconsin coach to suck it when it's all over with. But either way, I still can't believe that guy did that. I mean, I'm a wrestling fan. I kind of chuckled at that. But either way, that guy's a tool.
And the whole, but, I won't go off on a tangent here, but that dummy, I said it yesterday. He had like a tweet like this, and he had a little blood on his front tooth. Yeah, and the whole Wisconsin AD and the Wisconsin organization said, well, we did what we could to de-escalate the situation before, what happened with Joanna and everything. Yeah, you did that while you got that little fatso, 5'5" bald fatso on the sideline doing the suck it. I believe that happened before, the handshake stuff ensued here. So Wisconsin, I don't know. I've never had any ill will towards them, but they seem like their heads are in the clouds here. They've no wrongdoing, and I'll leave it at that. I think I just hammered this into the ground here. But hey, sometimes that's what sports talk radio is about. Hey, we're going to reset at the hour. We're going to talk Wisconsin at the slab. Yeah. And, what are you going to do?
Yeah, you know what? Beer will be back from vacation here on the slopes here. And, he's being a Wisconsin slappy. We'll have to hash it out with him about that one. But BC, the other thing going on, your NHL is taking, yeah, exactly, give him the suck it. But the other thing, NHL is about to lose its, headline stage here in the DFS world. NBA is due to be back. But Beastie, I thought before, I was kind of looking at some of the, player type futures here, especially the MVP of the league. And I was quite surprised to see what I saw today. They got Joel Embiid at the top of the list at plus 145. And I just don't believe Joel Embiid is there to get the MVP. Now, you can look at a guy like Joker here at plus 270. I truly think that is the guy who's the MVP. You take him off the Nuggets, they are absolutely terrible. I know Joel Embiid's having a great season. He's got one of the highest usage rates. Everything else, he's tearing it up. I can't disagree with that. Leading scorer in the NBA. But for me, Joker is just a much, much better player. I mean, literally, this guy here is a 25-point difference on his team and 10-point difference in per 100 possessions with Joker in the game. I mean, this guy is averaging 26 points, 13 rebounds, and almost 8 assists here. That puts him literally in the top handful in almost every one of the categories here. So for me, I guess what I'm talking about here is that I think we should lay some money on the Joker here to win the MVP and the NBA so far at this point in the season. I just don't think Embiid's going to close the deal here. I think Joker's going to get it. I think he's the guy that he's already. I just think the Joker is in position to get. I think getting plus 270, almost 3-1 on your money. I think that is a pretty good value bet at this point. But BC, you got any thoughts on the MVP race so far at this halfway point?
No, I'm with you with Joker. This guy he's an absolute treat, but I don't want to discount what Embiid has been doing. This guy has showed like another level, like another zone in what he's doing. And we've seen things, social media. I keep going back to that. Everybody has access at any given time, and even the days when I've seen when Philadelphia is traveling or in an off day, Joel Embiid's not only in the facility, but there's photos of him playing pickup basketball, at the local YMCA with coaches trying to get in, some more work with the strength and conditioning guys, at the YMCA. Imagine going to the YMCA around here and seeing Cade Cunningham or way back when, Andre Drummond or Bill Laimbeer or something. So to me, it seems like Joel Embiid has taken his game to the next level. And I believe it starts with all the work he's willing to put in here. Because a lot of these guys, and again, I don't know any of them personally, not my friends, never talked to them, but some folks, sometimes you can see a case here where someone is so skilled and athletically gifted here, they know they don't have to work as hard as everybody else because it's just they're naturally good. They show up on game day, they do their thing, boom, they go, they get fed by their chef, and boom, they're gone here. But to me, Joel Embiid is taking the next step here in his development, and he wants to do something here with Philadelphia, and rightfully so. They just added James Harden, which I think that's kind of stinks for Embiid's MVP chances, because we know what Harden commands here in terms of not targets per se. We're not talking football, but in terms of field goal percentage and the amount of shots he takes. He's been called a ball hog, but hey, are you a ball hog when you keep living up to the hype here? So to me, Joel Embiid, it's a nice bet, but it's not my slam dunk. My slam dunk is with you, Joker. This guy is unbelievable. And I read a report heading into the season where this guy, we know he's not of American descent. He's not born and raised here in America. He loved pop. He loved Coca-Cola Classic, and he cut down the Coca-Cola completely, and he lost some weight. He slimmed up here. And again, that's just one of the traps of when you come to the United States, is just eating fast food and drinking pop. Joker knows what's going on now. He's going to carry this team for the next half of the season. And to me, one thing I always do, these next let's just say these next 5 to 8 games, let's just go next 5 to 10 games after the All-Star break, watch all these teams closely, catch up on the stuff, take notes, and see who's kind of, steps up and steps out after the All-Star break, because those are the guys you want to hitch your wagon to. So Joker, and I think Ja Morant has a little case to be made here, but we have to slow play it here. Let's see how Ja in Memphis handles everything these next few games after the All-Star break, and boom, we can make our bets this time next week, let's say.
Yeah, Ja Morant plus 1,800. That's a hell of a value for a guy as his stature. But I just think at Joker plus 270 is a pretty way to go. You're getting 270 on your money. You really can't argue that. And I think he's got a pretty good chance to take over Embiid here. But either way, Beastie, before we get too far, you're talking about fast food and Coke and all that fun stuff. I know when I end up leaving the other sponsor of the show, that's usually a place that I'd like to stop in at when I got the munchies, but that is the Jars Cannabis Company. And listen, guys, Jars Cannabis is celebrating the winter with the Michigan community, and they got this Jars Rail Jam going on. It's a 90-foot course, got 3 obstacles on it. You can get your skis, you can get your snowboard, whatever else you want. Let's see what kind of tricks you got. We got for $1,000. I'm sorry, for first place, $500 for second, $250 for third. So February 26th, you guys got to check that out. If you want to enter or get any other information, you can go to jarscannabis.com. Look for the events tab, and everything you need should be right there for you. But looks like an interesting deal here. If you don't want to lace them up and get out there and try your hand at all the tricks, there should be all kinds of fire deals and everything else going on there. So make sure you guys get over there and check out all the action and fun over there at Jars Cannabis. So Beastie, man, I don't know about that, but Beer Man's out there skiing himself. Maybe we can convince the Beer Man to lace up his skis and go down that 90-foot. Yeah, that's exactly what we would get right there. The beer man looking for a little bit of help getting up there. As we mentioned, that poor female there, I don't know if that's his wife or whoever else. I doubt she was able to give him the arm and pull him up because he's a big boy. But either way, we'll be happy to have him back tomorrow. But Beastie, before we get too far here, let's dive into some NHL. We got some Red Wings tonight facing the number one team in the NHL, the Colorado Avalanche. But yeah, waiting to hear what you got here for the NHL for us today. But man, I think the Red Wings really got their work cut off. Or maybe we can get McCarty to lace them back up and beat one of these guys' asses and get some, get a little bit of fun going in this game. But I think the Red Wings going to have a tough sledding tonight.
Yeah, I know. I'm with you. When you look at the slate overall, right? I'm going to paint a picture here. I'll start with the Wings because this is, Woodward sports. Woodward is one of the main, roads here that go in and out of Detroit, all around Michigan here. But this one, it should be a good one, right? Now, I'll tell you a few things. It's not a slam dunk in terms on the Rangers' favor as we think here. So when you look at this one, the Red Wings, they haven't played since like the 17th of this month. I believe that was all the way back to last Thursday here. Well, are they going to be out of rest? Or excuse me, are they going to be well rested or out of sync? It's one way or another. Obviously, they didn't just go home and lay on the couch these last few days. Probably took the time to rest, relax, but get on the skates and practice some stuff here. But right now, the Wings 23, 22, and 6, one game above 500, and they're scratching and clawing for a wild card spot right now. I believe they're fourth right now, and only two teams from the Eastern and Western Conference make it in. And right now, the Wings are still within shooting distance of this. And to be honest here, this game and moving forward here, this is going to be a good gauge for the character of this team. Are they going to, batten down the hatches? Are they going to move it and see what they can do, right? Because a lot of times, if you're the best team in the NFL or the NHL, you can just coast through. But I'm telling you now, nothing builds more team cohesion than when you're fighting with your brother next to you or your sister on a coaching staff, whatever it is. So this team, they're going to grow up or just completely fall apart here. And I'm almost certain with Stevie Y at the helm, they're going to grow up here. We've seen Lucas Raymond and Sutter and Sider, all these guys that their lead. I believe Lucas Raymond is tied for first with Taylor Zegras in Anaheim with rookie points. They both have 39 here. But when we look at this game, the Wings stout record of 15-9-3 at home, and they are home tonight, 15-9-3 at home, as I've said. And right now, Wings only they're averaging about 2.85 goals a game, let's just round up to about 30 shots per game here. And defensively, they're allowing almost 3.5 goals per game here. So you do the math, they're only scoring 2.8. They're giving up 3.4. There's a disconnect in that one. But they're also facing around 32 to 33 shots a game here. We know the Rangers, they're very good. Matt Zuccarello, and Chris Kreider, JT Miller, these guys shoot the puck a lot here. So whoever's in goal tonight, I haven't seen the updated report since the morning skate around here. I would imagine it's obviously it's going to be Nedeljkovic or Thomas Greiss in this one. Either way, they're going to have their work cut out for them. But the golden ticket to this one would be the Red Wings power play. They've scored 24 goals and converting around 16.7% of the time on the power play. If you're a casual hockey fan or just a true diehard Red Wings fan, you'll see, 16.7% out of 100, that's bad news. But the most elite teams, they're only converting at around 23 to 24%. So there's some work to do at 16.7%, but those 24 total power play goals, it's a good move here. So this team, when we tie it all up here, I'm expecting Colorado to bounce back big time. They lost last time they played here. I think the Wings hang tough here. We're looking at a 4-3 kind of final in here in favor of Colorado, but I have all eyes in terms for DFS tonight. My all eyes are on the Red Wings second line here. Sutter, second line, second power play unit, Robbie Fabry and Tyler Bertuzzi. All three guys on the second line, Sutter on the second power play, and then Fabry and Bertuzzi get to skate on that first power play unit. So to me, it's all about the Red Wings second line. And again, what used to be some bitter rivalry here, have we grown out of it? Not you and I per se, definitely not McCarty, but these kids that are watching today, they don't even remember who Patrick Waugh was or Claude Lemieux or Vernon fighting Waugh here. So to me, this game, it's just another game, which is sad to say because I grew up on this rivalry, but here we are. When we look at the rest of the slate here, as we get into it, I believe there is, let me double check here. I don't want to give anybody faulty information. There's 5 games here. 4 of them are tomorrow at 7:30 p.m. Eastern. We have 1:10 p.m. gang, the Kings at Arizona, and there's just one slate. There's really no way to break it down. You can't have LA and Arizona as an after-hours slate with only one game. And I want to tell folks now, if you're watching this, pick up your paper and your pen and pay attention for 2 seconds. When you look at this, Colorado is playing, Tampa Bay is playing, Edmonton is playing. We're looking at some high dollar skaters, Nathan McKinnon, Steven Stamkos, Kucherov, Leon Draisaitl, and Connor McDavid. Everybody and their mother is going to flock to Colorado. Oh, they're playing in Detroit. It's a cake matchup. You'd be wrong there. When we look at Tampa Bay, they're home against Edmonton. That game's going to be outstanding. Over under of 6.5 points. As I said, McDavid, Draisaitl, along with everything that Tampa Bay brings with Steven Stamkos. So those three teams alone, all those first and second lines in those games are going to be highly, highly owned here. And that's okay. Sometimes we have to make a decision. And hey, do you want to stack the Buffalo at Montreal game? Do you want to look at Arizona? These are all slightly, they're less favorable matchups, but there is some money to be made here. And that's why I absolutely love Buffalo's first line tonight. I absolutely love Montreal's first line tonight. When we look at it, I'll be brief here because I spent a large portion of this segment talking about the Wings, which I wouldn't trade for the world here. But the Buffalo Sabres first line, this rookie, Tage Thompson, Jeff Skinner, and Alex Tuch, all three dudes on the first line, all three guys on the first power play unit. Yeah, Buffalo, it's not really that good, right? It's the Buffalo Sabres. But long term, I like the outlook of this team. And right now, tonight here, they're riding a 3-game losing streak. Sabres they're only averaging about 2.6 goals a game, getting around 30 shots in this one, and they're allowing almost 3.6 goals a game here and facing 35, 36 shots here. But to me, I love stacking this first line in a spot where nobody cares. Everybody's going to be on, as I said, Colorado, Edmonton, and Tampa Bay. And let's take it a step further. You want to get wild? You want to get crazy? Let's double down on the Montreal Canadiens as we did a few days ago here. Montreal's first line, Nick Suzuki, Cole Caulfield, and Josh Anderson, all first liners. And then you get Suzuki, Cole Caulfield, first power play unit, and then Josh Anderson, the power play number 2 here. So we're getting a game here when it's Buffalo and Montreal, and that thing is swept under the rug as far as it could get. Nobody cares about that one. We're talking Edmonton. I can't say it as much. Edmonton, Tampa Bay, and Colorado here. I'm telling you now, look Buffalo and Montreal's way. I think there's a lot to be gained here from those two lines. You can fix them in. You can book both first lines. They fit beautifully. And if you want to run it back with this Philip Gruber kid, the Colorado Avalanche goalie, I wouldn't fault you. Sometimes we play DFS. We have to leave allegiances and fandom aside here. So to me, all about Buffalo 1, all about Montreal 1. And I'll tell you this, before you call me crazy, before you call me stupid, I'm aware Colorado plays tonight. I'm aware Edmonton and Tampa Bay are playing tonight. I'm just looking in another direction to get over on some folks in my GPPs. Cash games, obviously Colorado, Edmonton, but if you're going to take big swings in GPPs as I do, let's look at Montreal, let's focus on Buffalo, and boom, we're off and running tonight, Scott.
Heck yeah, I mean, how can you argue with that? I mean, you're right. Everybody's going to go one way, and in DFS, you got to know how to go the other way. And, if I got some great advice, being at some of these live events over the years, one of the best pieces of advice I ever got from one of the best tournament players ever, and that guy's name is actually Beep on the Jeep, Jay Rayner. But he was a stinking genius. He was way ahead of everybody else, and he said, hey, if you don't think your team can come in last, the chances of it coming first are probably not very good. So basically, if you're playing scared, you're not going to win. So I always kept that with me. I thought that was some great advice. But you mentioned BC, the Red Wings at second line with Fabry and Bertuzzi. Now, Fabry, if you just want to bet on him to score a goal, he's 3-1 on your money if he scores tonight. If you want to bet Bertuzzi, he is a little bit over 2-1 at plus 210. So either one of those guys net a goal, Beastie. You can get 2-1 on Bertuzzi and 3-1 on Fabry, as I mentioned there. So yeah, kind of like that. I like the Red Wings here tonight. See how they gauge up against this high flying Colorado team, and who knows? Maybe we'll get Smith to drop the gloves with somebody here tonight. That's always fun watching him work. But BC, before we get to our best bets, I just wanted to bring up, I'm not going to give a full breakdown of this golf this weekend, but we are getting to that time of year. I do like to bet on some of these guys to win at golf. I was doing a little bit of research this morning We got the we got the Honda Classic, which is down in Florida. We got Bermuda grass, so that is a little bit different for these guys here. But I like these guys here that are on the screen, and that is Billy Horschel. I think at plus 2,100, so you get 21 to 1 on your money. And Tommy Fleetwood as well is somebody that we can look at here. So one thing you're going to want to look at is like strokes gained here, ball striking. I think is real important here. But yeah, I think these guys. Horschel has been playing really well. He's been close here before in the past. He's got a pretty good caddy who's pretty familiar with the course. And then Tommy Fleetwood's a guy here who won a few times last year. I think he's got what it takes as well, and I just like the odds. Now, a couple other guys, maybe Sunjay M, who won last year. I think he's a guy you could look at. And then Johnny Vegas, who's been pretty close. I think you can get him at like close to 50 to 1, something like that. And no, that's not a shot. Yeah, I do like to drink those shots, but no, that's not a shot. He's an actual golfer. So I don't want to hear, I'm sure somebody in the chat will mention that. But Horschel and Fleetwood, two guys, Beastie, that I'm going to throw down on maybe $50 or so, end up winning 1,000 if one of these guys can get over the finish line for you. But Beastie, I know you don't get into too much golf, but I do like playing some DFS golf. We got 120 some golfers this week. I think 65 make the cut. So should be interesting. Looking forward to getting the golf season back going. But that Bermuda grass is way different. I know it's a little bit tougher for these guys to put on, and takes certain guys are good at it, and certain guys are not just better at reading those greens. But Beastie, do you mix it up in any of the golf at all, or I know we can't all play every sport, but I do find it fun too. It's just like a longer sweat. You get the whole weekend when you play DFS, and especially if you can make it past Saturday and get your guys to make the cut, you pretty much know how you're going to do. Especially if you get 6 for 6, you generally already know you're going to cash.
I don't play often, but when I do, I listen to much smarter folks than me, like you or Beer or anybody else, or you use an optimizer here and you crunch numbers yourself. I mean, if you have a process for NHL, NBA, or football, you can kind of use that same process for golf. So I don't dig too much into PGA. I listen to folks like you, and I know I'm not the end-all be-all for anything DFS or anything sports related, but when it's time to shut my mouth and open my ears, that's what I'll do, and that's what I'm doing this weekend with PGA. Hitching my wagon to you, and we'll see what we get when lock comes around here. I believe Friday afternoon sometime.
Yeah, I get involved in golf. Golf isn't something that I can literally sit down and watch for too long. I kind of get fidgety, and then I got to start doing something else or watching something else. But especially on Sunday, I do like to get in there and check it out. But Beastie, before we get too far here, before we get to our favorite part of the show here, you got any words of wisdom before we give our best bets and get on out of here for the day?
Yeah, people so far, I mean, if you're East Coast or Midwest, right, we're just about over the hump until spring comes around. If you're West Coast, Arizona, something like that, it's springtime, summer, all year round. Same thing with Florida. Regardless, it's still only February 23rd here. I know a lot of folks across the board, across the country, they're getting restless. They see the news and they watch what's going on over in Eastern Europe, or even here with all the political stuff or all the health questions and things like that. People are getting fidgety, as you said. They're like freaking out. They have nothing. They don't know what to do. And they just dig deep and they overthink and they go off on tangents and they just stress themselves out even more. It's okay to just dumb things down and just worry about making the next right decision. That's all you got to do. Who cares what's going on tomorrow? Who cares what's going on the next day? Think ahead. The next 20 minutes, what's the next decision you're probably going to have to make at work or at school, at the gas station? Just worry about making the next right decision. Then we stack those up and boom, we have positive momentum. It's that easy, at least for me, just getting that off my chest. And hopefully if anybody's got any issues, big or small, you can always find me at the Woodward Sports page or on my own Twitter page. Stacking up good decisions forces positive momentum here, Scott.
Man, can't get any better advice than that. I mean, hey, we understand. I mean, we live in a world, BC, here, being sports bettors and, playing DFS, that it's pretty easy to get yourself in a rut and, get depressed or get down, especially when you're losing. Losing streaks are real. It's going to happen to any sports bettor that plays. I mean, you just got to learn, play within your means, have fun. And, the biggest thing I always say, just have fun, man. I mean, I'm getting older in life where I just try to have as much fun as possible as I can possibly have. I don't care if I go to a concert I don't like or something else maybe I wouldn't have enjoyed in the past. I just go and have fun, man. I mean, you only live once. I've seen too many people's lives cut short, or something happens to where you just think, you know what, I'm just going out there and living it to the fullest every day. So definitely agree with you there, Beastie. But here we are, Beastie. We got to give out some picks for the day. Everybody don't want to hear our counseling advice today, but we got some best bets to get at here, Beastie. So you are on deck here. What do you got for the best bets
All right.
on this one?
Yeah, this is easy peasy for me. I mean, I realistically have a bet for every hockey game tonight, but I'll kind of, slow it up here. I love the idea of taking the Los Angeles Kings minus a goal and a half playing in Arizona tonight. I like to stack Arizona in the right settings, Nick Schmaltz. Boom, and we move on here. But I think the Kings are going to be a little bit too much for the Coyotes. LA wins 4-1, 5-1. So give me the Kings minus a goal and a half, and give me the Dallas Stars in this one. I think that they're hosting the Winnipeg Jets here. Winnipeg in the right spots. I love stacking them as well. Patrick Lalane, Blake Wheeler, Mark Lachiffe, all those guys that they can play very well here, but they're so up and down. It's like they only play when they want to. And Dallas has, talk about positive momentum. The Stars are going in the right direction. Rube Hintz, Joe Pavelski, Jason Robertson. I think Dallas hangs 3 or 4 goals here in comparisons to Winnipeg's, 1, maybe 2 here. So I would take Dallas's money line. You can get that at plus money. Dallas money line 105 here. And give me LA, as I said, minus a goal and a half. And I also think the Buffalo-Montreal game, if I'm going to bang my chest in my drum and say I'd love to stack up Buffalo and Montreal, then I got to go over 5.5 goals here. So we're just looking for a 4-3 game, something along those lines. And I think that can happen here. So give me the Kings minus a goal and a half. Give me the Dallas Stars at plus money, the money line plus 105, and then Buffalo at Montreal over 5.5 goals. That's a nice easy parlay. Boom.
Like it here. I got 2 in college basketball tonight. The first one is going to be number 10 Providence at home facing against Xavier. Yeah, it does kind of look a little bit too good to be true with Providence -1, but Xavier's been struggling here, 3-7 against the spread in their last 10. So I'm going to roll with Providence at home, taking the home team and the better team at home. And then I'm also going to roll with Wake Forest on the road here. I know I haven't been liking to take games here on the road, but Clemson has been struggling mightily here recently. Wake Forest has been on a roll, 7-3 against the spread in their last 10, and they're only given 3 here to Clemson. So I will take Wake Forest and Providence here tonight for my best bets. But Beastie, I was kind of looking at this Michigan game. Man, if I had a lean on anything here, I think I'd probably take Rutgers tonight. But I'm just going to stay away from it. I just want to see how Michigan comes out with the new coach. But Rutgers is playing some really good ball here recently. I think it's going to be tough for Michigan to get a cover tonight. But either way, Beastie, that is going to do it here for the Woodward Bet Show here today. But for Beastie, for Easy Behind the Glass, I am Scott. We appreciate you guys listening. Hit that like button on the way out, and we will catch you guys tomorrow.